Exciting matchup to round out Week 6 in East Rutherford. How about Aaron Rodgers stretching the field a little late, a little low, and picked off inside 2 minutes, chasing 3 points. Taron Johnson with a beautiful play on that ball. Mike Williams lost his footing. Might have been a different outcome if he could have stayed upright, but Rodgers is going to want that one back, and then it would come down to this on a 3rd and 4. Got to have a stop. 17 says, I'll do it myself. Josh Allen, in his already somewhat decorated career, maintains this stat. Has not lost 3 in a row in his entire career as he comes away with a win. And I am always a winner as I sit next to Emory, Hunt, and Lige. Douzable. Fellas, the New York Jets on this night maybe remedy some of those offensive woes that led to all of the unrest and the omissions throughout the week. I'm going to go to the man who wore the helmet here first, Deuce. Feels like a little bit of whack-a-mole as the issues arise here in the kick game. Greg Zuerlein leaving 6 on the field.
Yeah, Moose and Emory, this game was won and lost in the red zone. And Emory, you played this game. You know that the 3 phases that the coaches always talk about that can tilt the game in your favor is red zone, the money down, which is 3rd down, and turnovers, right? Jets didn't turn the football over. 3rd down was about equal on both sides. The game was won or lost in the red zone. You just alluded to it, Moose. Greg Zuerlein missing a couple field goals. But the Buffalo Bills started the game 3 for 3 in the red zone. And when I say 3 for 3, they scored 3 touchdowns in the red zone. You know what the Jets were, guys? 1 of 4. If you do not finish drives with touchdowns, it is hard to win in the NFL. And you talked about some of those woes. Maybe they remedied them. No, they reared their ugly head in the red zone. Tyron Smith, the unnecessary hold on a walk-in touchdown from Braylon Allen. We saw Garrett Wilson. We talked about this before we came on camera, Moose. Rodgers maybe a little late with the ball in the red zone to him. Taylor Rapp, heck of a job dislodging the ball from Garrett Wilson. But if you want to take yourself and be great, you have to come down with that catch if you're Garrett Wilson. Yes, it's a tough catch because Taylor Rapp is hitting you soon as the ball is getting there. But the great ones hold on to the football. So that's where the Jets really struggled. And then when you talk about Breece Hall, he finally got back on track. But Breece Hall of old would have made Taylor Rapp miss in the open field and getting to the end zone there. That was a massive tackle by Taylor Rapp to hold Breece Hall at the 3-yard line because they had a negative play on the first play. Then I believe Braylon Allen gets tackled for a loss. Then they bring him in with Breece Hall. They put him at the fullback. He scores, but because of the holding call from Tyron Smith, they have to push the ball back 10 yards. So the red zone is where the Jets lost this game. You cannot get into the red zone and not come away with 6 and try to settle for field goals, especially when the elements are as bad as they are in the kicking game because of the win.
There's a lot to unpack here, and what's cool about it is that you can kind of parse to different reasons why the outcome was what it was. Once they got inside the red zone, because I thought off the rip, the Jets did a great job of playing with balance. Passing game was there, efficiency was there, run game was there. They got inside the red zone, and they didn't dance with whom they brought to the party.
Concerted effort between those 20s to get Breece going.
And then when you get there, you don't get creative. You got too creative, you got too cute, and that's what happened inside the red zone. And on the other side of that, you give the Bills secondary, you tip your caps to them because they came up big inside the red zone. The hit on Garrett Wilson. Leger talked about it. The tackle on Breece Hall where it looked as though, I mean, as a running back, that's what you want. One-on-one between you, the defender, and the pylon, and you don't make him miss.
Was that a matter of indecision? What did you see? It looked like he broke down, didn't know if he wanted to go power, speed, cut back inside. What did you see there?
Indecision, because at the end of the day, make one choice and stick with it. Either you're going to run past him, or you're going to run over him, or you're going to try to evade him. Don't get caught trying to figure out which one of the 3 you're going to choose in that situation. You're Breece Hall. You should be able to run. Any one of those would have been the right answer. And lastly, the penalties shot themselves in the foot as well. So it was 3-pronged reasons why they didn't have success, but the red zone was one, and those other 2 were the other ones.
I think what I'm hearing from both of you fellas, this is not going to be a fun watch in the film room when that comes on Tuesday here on a short week for the Jets. To your point about the flags, 22 total flags accepted in this game, tied for the most in a game this season, 204 yards of total penalties, the most in a game this season. This was not clean football, and that's where I want to go next here, Deuce. Grade out, and you don't have to give an exact grade, but what did you see from the interim head coach here in Jeff Ulbrich? I mean, the process, We did see a failure, a breakdown in communication that led to a costly delay of game throughout this. I'm not sure where you point the finger there. What did you make of the first go as the interim head coach?
I thought it was a mixed bag. I thought he was masterful in calling those timeouts right before half when Buffalo had the ball in the red zone just to give his guy Aaron Rodgers another opportunity. And that paid dividends. I don't think a lot of people talked about that. They didn't even really bring it up in the broadcast. Him using those timeouts, it gave Rodgers another opportunity. They hit Garrett Wilson on a play where he gained about 12 or 15 yards. And then they played kind of like that shell defense because they thought the Jets were going to go for a quick hitter outside to give Greg Zuerlein a chance. Well, Aaron Rodgers just threw the ball down the field. He is one of the best, if not the best ever, at Hail Marys. And Alan Lazard, with that big frame, went up and came down with the ball and kind of shifted the momentum back to the Jets. So I give Ulbrich credit for that. But some of the defensive issues, now again, and that's what you worry about when you become the head coach and you're still making the defensive calls. Yeah. Like some of your attention is kind of taken away from the defense. We saw the Buffalo Bills have their way in the run game in the first half. Now they stiffened up in the second half. I believe they only gave up about 30-something yards in the second half. But the Bills had 110 yards rushing in the first half. You're not going to win many games when you're getting punched in the mouth and you can't get off blocks. And what was irking me, Emory and Moose, was that they started slanting the defensive line. Well, Emory, you know that a running back loves when the defensive line slants because if they don't get back vertical and they get washed down, it creates canvases. It creates holes for the running back. And Ray Davis was running with purpose. I love this kid coming out of Kentucky. He had his opportunity tonight, and he shined bright.
Emory, I know you were hyped on Ray Davis. Talk a little bit about how he seized his opportunity here.
Oh, man, he did a great job. 16 carries, 20 carries for 97 yards. He messed up his 5.1 yards a carry at the end of the game when they were just giving him carries to run the clock out. But he ran with authority. He ran like he was the guy. And Buffalo's interior offensive line had their way with this Jets defensive front. And that attitude they came out with running the football and with Ty Johnson, and we saw them inside the red zone lean into their run game. Also with Josh Allen and his ability to run the football. That was the difference to me because you have Josh Allen and his athleticism enhancing the run game, and they're able to go to that inside the red zone because Josh Allen, we saw him duck underneath the sack attempt, get outside the pocket. Defense now has a two-way go. I don't know if I want to stay in coverage or go up to Josh Allen. Either decision you make is going to be wrong because he has a great arm and fires a football into Knox for a touchdown. So it was the youth of the Jets, the youth of the Bills' run game, offensive weapons, and the fact that they leaned in on those run games. And we talked about this before when we brought up San Francisco and going through their 1 through 53 and how guys that step in, like Isaac Guerrero, was ready to go. The Bills did the same thing. Hey, I trust you, Ray Davis. I drafted you. You're in the lineup. You are the starter now. We expect James Cook-like performance from you, despite you being a reserve, and he answered the call today.
Game-changing plays throughout this one, but at the end of the day, it is 4-2 for Buffalo as they avoid a 3-game losing streak. Josh Allen still has not had one in his career. First place in the AFC East. I want to get back to the Jets here because the conversation has and will continue to surround the play of Aaron Rodgers. On this night, 23 of 35, 296, 2 touchdowns, an INT late there in the game. And I say this with great reverence for the future Hall of Famer. Can still flick it, can still spin it. He's never looked more 40 than he did on this night, Emory. What did you make of the total package, both within the flow of this offense and then how long that road might be out in front of him and the urgency that could lead to?
Well, what I love most about what we saw from him is the fact that he spread the football around. And in particular, it wasn't just one guy. We saw Alan Lazard, 6 for 114 and a touchdown. Garrett Wilson, 8 catches for 107 and a touchdown. He tried to get the ball to Mike Williams deep down the field, but it was a little bit underthrown. And we saw him work the tight ends. Jeremy Rucker had some success getting open and getting the football. Breece Hall got involved in the pass game. So we saw Aaron Rodgers do what he did in Green Bay, diversify the options and get rid of the football to many different targets. Therefore, it was tough for the Bills secondary to really kind of get a gauge on where he's going to go. Now, on the flip side of that, Aaron Rodgers' age showed up because we know and love Aaron Rodgers for being the mobile guy, getting outside the pocket, creating some crazy throws. The throw to Mike Williams to end the game, he makes that in his sleep 10 times out of 10 when he was 10 years younger. Even the Hail Mary was a perfect throw. We talked about that at halftime here on this show, but the age showed up in his inability to really evade pressure. He used to be one of those hard guys to sack, and now he's kind of easy to sack now because he's older. He's not as mobile as he once was. That's the downside of it. And you hope that maybe they can continue to lean on the run game, maybe go a little bit more up tempo to get the ball out of his hands quicker. But right now, you're seeing a good Aaron Rodgers, but you're not seeing the Aaron Rodgers.
I think that's very well said, Emory Hunt, and you better get in that cold tub because it's TJ Watt coming off an edge in Pittsburgh in prime time. Not too long from now.
He lines up all sides, man. I swear he lines up all sides.
It's time now for our old El Paso Start Somewhere Fresh Talk About It player of the game. Emory Hunt, talk about it. Whose performance most determined the outcome in this game?
I mean, we are in an election year, and it is America's choice to go with the running back position, Joe. Ray Davis. Listen, 20 carries, 97 yards, 4.9 yards a carry, but it was 3 catches for 55 yards on 3 targets. This dude came out and balled out on both ends of offense. I loved how he was running behind his pads. He finished blocks. He had a great blitz pickup to save Josh Allen on one particular play. So you saw him do it all, relish the opportunity, and I tip my cap to him for doing what needed to be done for America.
Yeah, Emory, I went with Sugar Ray Davis as well. Loved them coming out of Kentucky. I thought this was a home run pick by Buffalo to be behind James Cook. Add more of that thunder to James Cook's lightning, and we saw that he ran with physicality today. You rarely saw him get tackled on first contact. Sometimes even on second contact, he didn't go down with go down on contact. And then you talked about it. Him having soft hands, to be able to catch that ball when Josh Allen rolls out to the right, down the field. I don't even think he had to jump. I think he just wanted to show off his hands in the open field when Quincy Williams was with him one-on-one. Nice job being available for Josh Allen once he broke the pocket and getting an explosive play to really ignite this offense early in this game. But my guy, the game changer, was Sugar Ray Davis as well.
That is 2 votes cast in the ballot box for Ray Davis. The great Emory Hunt and Lige Douzable offering their thoughts as we put a punctuation on Week 6. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, here's a look at where they now stand. As we know, winner of this one, well, is your division for now. 4-2 and some space between the next. The Bills with a big win on the road in prime time. Buffalo putting an end to that 2-game losing streak and moving forward with their 4th victory.